She knows for certain that she will film only honest and sincere movies. Meet the young Ukrainian film director Kateryna Tsvyhun, who masters her profession tirelessly and is confident that she can make her best films only at home, here in Ukraine. I entered the Russian State University of Cinematography, RSUC, before the war broke out in eastern Ukraine. I couldn't even imagine what consequences it would have for the country. It's clear that the situation is not straightforward and challenging. Colleagues speak about her as a talented and purposeful person. Kateryna Tsvyhun is a Ukrainian from Odessa, a certified economist. She finished acting classes, played in different theaters in Kiev, and then she took up the profession of a film critic. But with time, her favorite occupation became film directing. A graduate of the Institute of Screen Arts of the Kiev National Karpenko-Kary University of Theater, Film and Television, Tsvyhun decided that there was not enough knowledge to gain here and continued her education at RSUC. But the revolutionary events in Ukraine changed her mind, and now Kateryna's heart is with her homeland. This was immediately after the Maidan events and the war in the east had not yet broke out. It all began to develop after I had left Ukraine. And it, of course, was very painful to watch everything, given that RSUC was my long-standing dream. And I worried how it would all turn out and how my travels back and forth would be understood by both sides. I brought my etudes in the Ukrainian language that, of course, I had filmed during my breaks between semesters and on holidays. And nobody prohibited me from doing this. Naturally, my teacher periodically commented on my acting skills, saying, "You have a specific accent, do you hear me?" And I tried to understand what accent he had in mind. But later, I gradually began to understand what the problem was, though nobody had ever raised such a claim against me. Language differences. For Odessa inhabitant Kateryna Tsvyhun, they exist only so that the desire would arise to learn as profoundly as possible the culture, life, and habits of these language masters. Any language of communication, in her opinion, helps you know yourself better. When I returned to Ukraine, I began to speak Ukrainian at work and with my friends, because I wanted to feel my Ukrainian identity, and in what way it differs from that of Russians. Our language is beautiful, and I wanted to give the life that it deserves. The young film director started to film. Head of the course and famous film director with teaching experience at the Los Angeles Film School, Vladimir Alenikov, noticed her hard work and sense of purpose. From the very first semesters, Kateryna's short films in training were among the best student works in those courses. I came to Vladimir Alenikov in order to be accepted to RSUC. Everyone knows him in the films Adventures of Petrov and Vasechkin, The Drayman and the King, and others. He recruited students in the course of directing genre cinema. Some students came from Belarus, many from Russia, and some were from Ukraine. But finally, I was the only one in the course who was from Ukraine. Our course was international. To say the least, it was very interesting and challenging. In Kateryna's opinion, art, if it is real, can awaken good feelings in a person, teach them empathy, compassion, influence, on moral principles, and encourage mercy. I think that art, in any case, unites people. People from different countries can exchange experiences and create something greater on film shouldn't see. And art is that thread of hope that remains. Of course, some radical expressions can separate people. It's quite clear. But mostly it is language that is closest to all people around the world. Each film school has its own specific training, methods, and priorities. And young filmmakers are interested in learning how this process transpires in other universities. Kateryna shares this experience with ProART. Everything depends on the course master. Our teacher, Vladimir Alenikov, stuck to this point of view that he introduced students to the profession and told them what they should do. And then a person becomes the master of their soul and their intellect, because they fill it with their own personality. Kateryna considers her study at art universities as both a good theoretical base and an opportunity to practice. That entails learning skills in the profession and direct experience that helps you to take the next step, namely to shoot great films.
In
Kiev, we with our master had long philosophical conversations about the nature of art and artists. It's important, but at the same time, when studying in Moscow, during our first holidays, we were given 4 sketches to film. We immediately faced challenges there, and somebody was eventually left behind, by the way. The first works, like the first date, are always perceived with caution, curiosity, and inspiration for success.
During
my first holidays in Ukraine, I decided to shoot most of my university tasks here, because I already knew some Ukrainian actors and cameramen. Let's say I decided to pull up my old contacts. And I filmed. The most successful of these works became Marine Sketch, that even won the single-frame film competition on the City Celebrity website. And I was awarded with a 10-day, free-of-charge masterclass given by Mikhail Fatahov. Here is the diploma I received there for my film Marine Sketch, having won in the competition of single-frame films. The film director put her heart and soul into each work, so she loves all of them. But there are some she remembers warmly and with a smile, although sometimes with sadness. In fact, in my every second work, I faced certain challenges. For example, the documentary Polina, how it started. We went with my course mate to the radio station to film a documentary. I was engaged as the assistant of a cameraman. We shot a lot of material, having spent a whole week there. But we shot nothing with her. She did not find what she was looking for. And finally, I drew attention to the radio host's daughter, and I filmed her. It was as if I saw a small story that was interesting to me. Now I'll show you another one of my works that I put my nerves and efforts into. Lesson. We made a number of sketches, learned some lessons, and the master advised us as future film directors to free ourselves. In his view, a film director is also a teacher, and he or she needs to reveal hidden reserves in themselves. And this is how we ended up at an orphanage in the city of Torzhok. But it was a terrible experience, because you appear before children having no pedagogical experience. You don't know what to say, and you don't know how to communicate with troubled children. And of course, a conflict arose. And suddenly, you emerge from your comfort zone, and you understand that the reactions can be quite different. Traditionally, young filmmakers look for their path in art. Representatives of Ukrainian cinema are not an exception to this rule. What issues concern young filmmakers? Kateryna Tsvyhun draws inspiration from books, events happening around her, and personal experiences. But the main thing is being very honest in all the work you do. I understand that I am the best in making stories about relationships and love. I also have a work on the subject of relationships of generations, which was always close to me. While filming You and I worked with a full team including a sound man, a cameraman, and a second cameraman who was a specialist in lighting. It was my first experience engaging in such work at RSUC, and then I reached the stage when I realized that I had done enough with sketches and had to engage in more serious work in a comfortable, creative team environment. But I have to admit that I was pleased to work with cameraman Svyatoslav Ivanov. I was lucky to work with such excellent actors as Natalia Mikhina, who played the role of the granddaughter, and Halina Popova, who played her grandmother.
Больше всего меня волнуют
Stories from my background, from my biography, are what I'm mostly concerned about. And a bright example of this is my graduation work, which I made when I was in love.
Я делала, будучи очень влюбленной.
С самого детства я все жду и жду встречи со своей любовью.
It first had the long title, The Friend or Story of How Masha Waited, and Could Wait. Then I renamed this work Beloved, especially for the foreign audience and international festival. Talent and desire to create is only half the battle, according to Kateryna. It's also important to present your work. I've already undergone a competitive selection for some festivals. In particular, my work was premiered at the festival Unknown Cinema in Estonia, and it will be presented in the Bahamas and at the Egyptian Film Festival in Cairo. The film has already captured audiences from the United States to Egypt and Estonia, and I am sincerely hoping that it will be presented to an even broader audience. During my next visit home to Ukraine, I filmed this work together with a fantastic actress, Christian Mikitin, here in Kiev and in Odessa.
Я люблю тебя.
Having studied at some universities, the young filmmaker Kateryna Tsvyhun formed for herself as a person with a clear view who will be engaged in the profession of a film director. I quote my beloved teacher Vladimir. He said, "I met different film directors. They were pushy, modest, brilliant, and those who make dark cinema, but I must admit that among them, there was not a single lazy one." But of course, motivation is very important. It's very important to be pushy and to believe in the film you are trying to make. To continue learning everything and desire to study is an interesting process, according to Kateryna. Therefore, the Karpenko-Kari University and RSUC are not the limit for her, and she wants to more deeply open up a multifaceted world of her profession. I understand that artists should face different stages of baking just like clay, and I'm glad that I got my education in Kiev and in Moscow. After all, there were different experiences for me. I understand that now I continue to engage in self-studies, because I still take the necessary initial steps and personal self-initiative to achieve my goals. The main thing that university provides, according to Kateryna Tsvyhun, is practice. In the training process, we of course try to film everything possible, to write new creative scripts and edit them. I've long been involved in editing in parallel with training. I've been working as a film editor for 7 years now. That's why my skills helped me during all my years of studying. When shooting, including short films, a film director goes through several processes, and for such young film directors as Kateryna Tsvyhun, it was a benefit for her to learn the wisdom and nuances of film production. I consider editing to be the most interesting process in the filmmaking industry. And shooting is an unbearable stress, but at the same time, it keeps you up and organizes you. I have a preparatory period for my next short work. I applied for state financing and to film with a mature group of professionals in the name of teamwork. But for this, the script needs to be very well written. I think I will be successful and that everything will turn out just fine. That's precisely why, right now, I am pumping up my muscles to achieve this ultimate goal in filmmaking. Katya has gladly returned to her native Ukraine. Her goal was to find her way in Ukrainian cinema because she came up with the best and most honest ideas while being in Ukraine, and she finds the deepest inspiration from working in the country where her roots are. I came here and I'm very happy to see how truly high-quality Ukrainian cinema is changing and growing with every year. More interesting authors have appeared and their approach to filmmaking is becoming much more professional. And of course, I made many new contacts. I'm beginning to find my roots again.